Welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Loners. I bit my lip really hard when I was eating the other day, and now it hurts on the inside. Yeah, and so it's kind of hard for me to talk, so I'm going to let Linda do the heavy lifting.
Fuck you.
It hurts when I talk.
The entire week we were in Tokyo, I had a giant canker sore. So suck it.
I don't know what it
is.
is.
I showed up.
Linda's saying that I eat like tense too much, and so that's why I bite my cheek or my lip, but I bit it really hard.
He inhales his food.
I eat too fast. I need to slow down. I need to slow down and just be like, because I was like, and then I'm just like, and I'm like, it hurts so bad.
He eats like a prisoner, like fresh out of the slammer.
I know. I remember when at my old job, when I would eat in the cafeteria, this one guy was like, "Are you ex-military?" And I'm like, "No," because the way I would eat.
It's a nice way of saying, "Were you locked up?"
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But okay, so this is episode 313. All right, guys, so just want to say, if you haven't, I'm sorry if I annoy you with this, but it's important to us. If you haven't, please like and subscribe here, and please jump over to our vlog channel and help that baby grow. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Okay, so today's video is about Aussie tourist deported amid Trump's immigration crackdown. So yeah, let's see.
Now, every year there are around 10 million overseas trips from Australia, with the US among the top destinations. But horror stories are emerging of treatment at the border, with one story so shocking it's got many asking if America's still safe.
Since Donald Trump took office, immigration has been at the top of his agenda.
We are seeing the Trump administration take aggressive steps to oversee the largest mass deportation effort in U.S. history.
We're going to pay each one a certain amount of money, and we're going to get them a beautiful flight back to where they came from.
Trump's crackdown on illegal immigrants within the country also extending to tourists trying to enter.
A backpacking trip turned nightmare.
Visitors with valid travel documents being detained at border crossings.
Next thing you know, I'm taken, and for 2 weeks haven't been told anything.
Nobody is safe there anymore to come to America.
What? What's so funny? Explain
No,
yourself.
sorry, the accent was just funny to me.
Wow.
No, not in a mean way. No, he's German. But I love the German accent. I don't think Kilmore Abrego Garcia, the guy who was sent to El Salvador, I don't think he's not back. Like, they haven't sent him back.
Yeah, that's so true. I forgot to.
And so I learned more about that case. He came here illegally, yes, in like 2018 or 2019.
See the MS-13 one?
Well, they have no proof that he's linked to MS-13.
No, I know. I'm just saying the photoshopped image that Trump thought was...
Yeah. They got another guy who's like a barber too, and just because they have a tattoo and they're like, oh yeah, they're linked to MS-13. But so he's not even Salvadorian. I forget where he's from originally, but so he came in 2018, 2019. Then he went through the due process and he got I forget what the name is, but he's allowed legally to stay here and become a citizen. So it's one step above a visa, I think. So he's here. So then, but his thing says that it's like a withholding thing. So like they cannot send him back. And it said specifically in the law with him that they cannot send him to El Salvador. So that
I just find, like, I don't know. El Salvador is just... That should be alarming people. Wherever you stand on immigration, as far as like deporting people at what status they're in, just sending people to El Salvador, no matter where they're from, is weird.
Yeah, and I get there's a lot of people
that should be alarming people alone.
Like, I've met people, young people, like someone from Mexico City who he's like, yeah, we need a president like Bukele, like in El Salvador. And I'm like, I get that. No, like to an extent there is a positive that came out of what he's doing, but you also, because there's less crime on the street and people feel safer.
What is he doing? Like, I don't.
He's just rounding up anyone that could possibly be a criminal and throwing them in jail. That's the thing, though. Is
it's not a positive.
No, I'm saying, like, in some people's eyes, I get why it's a positive, because you see less crime on the street, because I'm sure he is actually getting criminals, but then you also need to be very careful because you throw away a lot of people's rights because they might not be criminals and they're just getting sent to prison for the rest of their life.
It also is normalizing not having
humanity.
Well, yeah, but you're just finding any way to justify throwing anyone you maybe could be a criminal into a facility, and that's someone's life. Like,
Yeah.
you can't play around with someone's life like that, or you shouldn't be playing around with someone's life like that.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
You can't get that
shouldn't be
time
okay.
back. If just in case it was a mistake, like, okay, and then you have to sit there and prove that it was a mistake. That's not fair. The upper hand is not in your favor, and that part is inhumane.
Yeah.
As a tourist.
They're trying to
Tony's
deport
meant
as
that.
many people as possible, but they're also trying to refuse entry to as many people as possible. This treatment of visitors
Crazy.
is much more aggressive than I've ever seen in my career.
Among the Aussies
Sorry for
detained,
stopping. The ASMR video of
I was
sending
just
them
about
back.
to say that.
Insane. That's like next level insanity to like dehumanize these
As
people.
an ASMR enthusiast, not cool.
Yeah.
Okay. And for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the White House months ago, it probably wasn't that long ago actually, put an ASMR video of them detaining.
Sending them back on planes in chains and shit.
Are
Yeah.
you like, that needs to be studied?
It scared me how many people
You
in the
deserve to be in the
comments-
loony bin, whoever's idea that was.
It scared me in the comments. There were a lot of people who were like, "Yeah, this is what I voted for." Like, there was a lot of people.
Okay, back to the
stripped of his
7-minute
valid
video.
US work visa and sent home despite not having lived here for 10 years. And the head coach of our MMA team sent to prison before
What?
being forced back to Australia.
What we're witnessing is far more dangerous and deeply alarming
due
than
process.
simply an immigration crackdown. Trump's deportation dragnet has been incoherent and all-consuming.
And despite Trump denying tourists are being targeted,
We treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world.
Holy shit.
people are clearly spooked. Total overseas arrivals into the US dropping almost 12% in March, with Aussie visitor numbers down 7% year on year, the largest decline since COVID.
We're seeing a huge drop in the number of people that are trying to relocate to the U.S. for work, for example, or students. If you are going to the United States and you have a lot of anxiety about traveling already, it might be good to go somewhere else at the moment.
Last week, Australian Nicole Sarukas was trying to enter Hawaii to visit her US husband when she was thrown into federal prison, strip-searched, and refused
Jesus.
food before
That's
being sent
fucking
home.
crazy.
My mum kept reassuring me the whole time that nothing was going to happen to me and that
Shit.
everything was going to be okay.
She's now banned from ever returning.
What?
Hold
Why?
on, let's hear.
The experience was extremely traumatic. I think throughout the whole ordeal, I was running off nothing but adrenaline and my fight or flight. But it wasn't until I landed back in Sydney that everything settled in for me and it really started to register what I actually had endured.
And Nicole's here now to tell us exactly what she did endure. Nicole, can you take us through how you ended up being detained?
Upon my arrival in Honolulu Airport, I was questioned by one of the officers, and then shortly after, my mother and I were taken into a room. We were held there for quite some time before my mum was released, and then I was unfortunately remaining behind for further interrogation, and then that was about a 4 to 5 hour ordeal before I was taken to the federal detention center.
Were you scared?
I would say I was terrified at the time.
Were you scared?
I didn't really know what my fate was going to be, nor did I know where they were taking me, whether I was safe. I didn't know my environments or even my rights. Nothing was read to me, unfortunately. So I had to come to my own ruling of their decision, which was based off the
That's what I was
questions they
wondering,
asked
what they
me,
asked.
being the amount of luggage that I had, and based off the fact that I was married to a US citizen, I'm assuming that they thought that I was going to overstay my visa.
What were they asking you before you ended up being detained?
They were just asking me very intrusive questions, like the jobs that I was exposed to whilst being a New South Wales police officer. They asked me if I had any relations to any organised crimes or gangs.
What the
So weird.
They asked me about my tattoos. They insinuated that I had intel that I was taking into the country and asking me about, importation, exportation of certain drugs. So I'm assuming that that was what they were ruling their decision off.
So
I feel like there's too much entitlement of some of these ICE officers or like the immigration officers that just really want to have like power and be a dick if they
It
want.
feels like a social experiment.
Yeah, it's wild.
you end up in a federal prison. What happened once you were there?
Prior to the prison, I had a cavity search conducted on my
I'd sue.
body,
That's
and then I
insane,
was
bro.
put in handcuffs. I asked them if I was under arrest. They said no. And then I was taken to the facility where I was to undergo another cavity search and a strip search. I was placed in prison wear, what they put the prisoners in. I was fingerprinted, all the normal inmate processing, and then I ended up in a cell overnight until I was released the next morning.
So scary. And your husband's in the US military, so I imagine you've been to the US many times and nothing like this has ever happened before?
No, I previously obviously have visited and I never had any issues. It was pretty much a breeze the entire time. The most I think I've ever taken in customs is about 4 minutes of interrogation. This time round was a first for me.
That's crazy.
I've never experienced treatment like that in my life.
So you mentioned there were some questions about the luggage and so on, but like, do you have any idea what it was that tripped the wire that made them say, this is the person we're going for?
I don't know what exactly set them off. As I said, I'm just assuming at this point off what I brought, the amount of luggage I had, like my clothes, for example. They kept making comments on the amount of clothes that I had for 3.5 weeks. I had another suitcase with, my husband has a dog back in Hawaii, so I bought her a new lead and a harness. I had some dog toys in there and a couple candles for his apartment. So they leaned towards the fact that I had this amount of clothes and this other stuff in my other luggage, and they kept insinuating that I was going to overstay my visa, to which then I told them, you are prematurely making an opinion based.
I just find it weird if they're so worried about her overstaying her visa. What is a cavity search going to prove that?
Yeah, that's insane.
That's insane.
Off purely what I've brought.
Well, so what are you going to do now? You're banned from going back. Your husband's in the military. What are your options now?
Well, from my understanding, I have a 10-year ban as a visitor to the United States. They told me that I can go for the green card.
10 years?
That was never something that I wanted to do. They even told me that if I do apply for that, there may be a high chance that I'll get declined and I will be susceptible to that treatment every single time I enter the United States. My husband and I are currently just dealing with what has happened just day by day. We don't have a plan. We don't know what the next step is. Unfortunately, it's just a very stressful situation to be in.
Nicole, what an ordeal and what a situation you now find yourself in with your husband on the other side of the world. And I mean, God knows how often you'll be able to see him and where. And I mean, it's a horrible situation. All the best with it from here. And thanks so much for speaking to us.
That's insane. 10 years.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. Also, she's married to an American citizen. Doesn't that grant her some...
You would think so. That's insane that that's happening. And there's no need for the double strip search and cavity search. That's insane.
Yeah, that's dehumanizing. Yeah, I don't know. These people should have some... There should be some type of representation before it escalates to that point.
Yeah, 100%.
Max, what are you doing?
But yeah, that's insane. I understand why people don't want to come right now.
And I do feel like I'm not going to say it's completely random. Obviously, if somebody looks suspicious, they look suspicious. But sometimes I do think that they do just randomly choose somebody and make their day hell. You know? And they're in too deep. Like, they've already brought them to the side. So now they're going to, what are they going to do? Yeah. They're going to make it seem like, I really don't know, because I don't have the capacity to understand how stupid some of these people are that have these jobs.
But yeah, I don't know. Leave your opinions down below and about what's going on with this, and if it's happened like to anyone you know or you like where you're from. But yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah, see, look, it is 2026 because you kept saying 2028.
No, it said 2028. I think they're making a mistake.
There is some form of Olympics. I don't follow them like that, but
maybe
there are some games I think happening here next year.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I'm almost certain, because I remember them trying to sell. I'm so confused. See, I swear this is a Mandela effect. I'm serious, because I do remember them saying there was gonna be some games here in 2000. So I guess it is just
in LA than 2028.
Well, guys, any more Luigi Man? Yeah, I'm told 2028.
All right, guys.
Just kidding.
Please comment below, like, subscribe, and jump over to our blog channel, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.